Okay, I know it lost the poll, but sometimes I just want to do what I want. I have covered a lot of celebrity scandals in the years that I have been doing the How the Internet Fell Out of Love series. Home wrecking with SpongeBob SquarePants, an inability to beat the cringe allegations, making a movie with questionable autism representation, having a child with Elon Musk. The list is endless. But rarely do I get to cover a person whose downfall in the public eye is entirely correlated to one piece of art that they've put out. I think a lot of people believe that the point of this series is just, me chronologically explaining how a celebrity got canceled. But I think today's episode will prove that sometimes it can be more complex than that. Sometimes it can just be a bad combination of industry pressure and a misguided project and a change in cultural landscape where after a while you might not necessarily fit in the way that you used to. We're going to unpack it all today by looking at one of the biggest musical fall-offs in recent history, Chancellor Bennett, also known as Chance the Rapper. But before we get there, I wanted to thank the sponsor of today's video, Babbel. If you follow my second channel, you may have seen a travel vlog that I did where we visited London and Paris, and in that video I spoke about how Paris is a little bit difficult to navigate if you don't know any French. So with the help of Babbel, which is the premier language learning app worldwide, I've been able to start brushing up on some French phrases if I ever want to go back to the area, or if I want to visit some French-speaking parts of Canada and what have you. For example, I've learned how to say Je m'appelle Kayla, which is my name is Kayla, and il est quelle heure, which is what time is it. You can see me taking a lesson here, and what I like about this app is it's simple to use, you can go at your own pace, and the way each module is set up, it kind of feels like you're playing a little game. Babbel's lessons are also designed by real language teachers. They were all created by over 650 real language experts, which means that a focus is being placed on learning practical, real-world conversation mechanics. In fact, it has been scientifically proven that Babbel can help you learn a new language in just 3 weeks. So if you're interested in giving Babbel a shot, I really do recommend it, and you can head on over to the link in the description down below to get 60% off on your subscription. And while you're down in the comments, let me know what language you want to learn, and thank you so much again to Babbel for sponsoring today's video.
Just had a show, just had to bounce, it's Chance Ho.
Chance the Rapper was born in Chicago and doesn't exactly have the traditional upbringing for somebody going into music. His father was an aide to then Senator Barack Obama, and his mother worked for the Illinois Attorney General. Chance cites his early musical inspirations as Michael Jackson and Kanye West, and he released his debut mixtape 10 Day in 2012. That mixtape was pretty well received and allowed Chance to make connections with other producers and musicians within the industry. While things were already going pretty well for him, he really hit his stride a year later in 2013 when he released his second mixtape, Acid Rap. So as a white person, I can only speak to my personal experience of where I was and what was happening at the time that Acid Rap came out. I was in high school, and a lot of suburban white kids seemed to really enjoy it, but so did everyone else.
I got the juice, I got the juice.
Acid Rap is a mixtape that has been downloaded over 1.3 million times, it is very well received critically, and it has some pretty notable features for a rapper putting out his second mixtape. Some of those features include Action Bronson, Childish Gambino, No Name, Vic Mensa. Not only is the album itself really great, but its success has also been attributed to Chance's unique distribution situation, or at least unique to him at that time. Chance put out 10 Day and Acid Rap as mixtapes, meaning that he could work with any artist that was available to him, and obviously that mixtape was released for free, meaning that it had an inherent degree of access. I have been to many a gathering where somebody just throws the Acid Rap YouTube playlist on TV and lets it play. Chance also had a number of successful endeavors following the release of Acid Rap, including his work with The Social Experiment and their critically acclaimed album Surf, and some production work on Kanye West's 2016 album The Life of Pablo. We'll come back to this.
I met Kanye West, I'm going to fail.
Okay, so as we've established, Acid Rap did really well. Kind of solidified Chance as a pretty big name with a lot of talent, and so there was a lot of hype and anticipation building for his next project, Chance 3, which is why you see Chance with the 3 hat a lot during this era, and that was a project that ended up being called Coloring Book. So let's talk about Coloring Book. It's Chance's third mixtape that he released in 2016. There was a lot of hype leading up to this project. Apple even bought exclusive streaming rights for it, which kind of conflicts with the whole Coloring Book mixtape, free to listen for everybody kind of image. It did eventually get released on streaming everywhere else, but Apple had it for that first couple of weeks. And I mean, it was well received, but there are two main things to note during this Chance the Rapper era era that kind of changed his persona from the acid rap and 10-day days. Number 1, Chance the Rapper was absolutely everywhere promoting this thing. It felt like from 2016 all the way through 2017, he was on every single late night show, he was on every single red carpet. Okay, I didn't know where else to include this, but I would be remiss if I did not include Chance the Rapper's feature in my favorite SNL sketch of all time. It was funny when I wasn't a hockey fan, and revisiting it years later as a newly turned hockey fan, it's even funnier. So I now present to you, let's go do that hockey.
But hey, as they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
And I think to a lot of industry people, he was slowly becoming known as like the family-friendly rapper. Which brings me to my next point about the content of Coloring Book itself as a mixtape. During this time, Chance had a baby and began to explore more of his Christian faith, with a lot of that coming out in Coloring Book with, you know, a lot of the gospel-inspired tracks, paired with the work he was doing on The Life of Pablo, which had a similar vibe. And whether it's right or not, there were some people in the music world that quite simply weren't fucking with it.
I go to church, they wanna flick, I wanna flip the table. I knew the worth before the birth when it was just a stable, and now it's just a fable, and it's just as fatal. First world problems that make up. Have a dream and then never wake up.
Seriously, guys, are we playing the entire performance? Trying to get us in trouble. What's happening? What's wrong with you, man?
What the fuck is Chance doing?
What you mean?
I see what Chance is doing.
It's Kids Bob's for
enough
for adults.
Enough of the Apollo shit, where you go out there and you sing about Jesus and we can't boo you because you're singing about Jesus. What the fuck is he talking about? It's too positive. I'm on some Wale shit, man.
So it's too positive.
I am.
Now, this ultimately comes down to a matter of personal preference, right? No matter how bluntly or rudely it may be expressed, but the truth is that 9 times out of 10, if an artist is going through changes in their personal life, that is likely going to reflect in the music that they make going forward. And people could clearly see that Chance the Rapper was going in a more softer, kind of gospel-inspired direction, which is a pretty clear departure from acid rap for sure. We were definitely seeing those influences manifesting in Coloring Book in interesting ways, but most people didn't have any cause for alarm. People were just like, okay, like, you know, there's no reason to be concerned because Coloring Book was ultimately pretty well received even then. And then things really started to take a turn when Chance the Rapper released his next project, The Big Day.
And we back. Life is short as a midget, but mine's a little LeBron. I'm about to book a show at the Dim, still in my dome. But that boy advance gotta be bigger than Diddy Kong. Fam, come out clean looking like we jumped the broom in the dustpan.
I come back out of breath while your side nigga sitting at the club with a booty on his chin like a clef.
It's either falling short because the base concept is terrible, or it's just been carried out in an awful way.
Time for a review of Chance the Husband's The Big Day. Boy, I love when independent artists collaborate with Swarovski Crystal.
Yeah.
I love my wife. I love my wife. Let's go ride a bike with my wife. My wife's real young. My wife's real small. Praise Jesus God and my wife. Let's go to the beach and ride a bike.
Considering how long this record is and how consistently unbearable a lot of it is, I just don't know what to say. I am genuinely feeling like a strong 0 on this record. It's like a strong 0 to a light 1.
I do sort of feel bad for Chance the Rapper because I feel like, you know, again, I've covered a lot of different celebrities on this channel and the various scandals that they've been in that have caused them to fall out of favor, so to speak. No one is shaming Chance the Rapper for falling in love and getting married and having a kid and being really into God. But like, was the album good? No. And not only was the album surprisingly not very good, but it also sparked a legal battle between Chance the Rapper and his own manager. Basically, according to a lawsuit that was filed by Chance's manager Pat Corcoran, Chance allegedly prematurely announced the release date of the album before the songs had even been written or recorded. He also claims that the studio time that they did have together was unproductive and undisciplined, and he said that Chance ignored his advice about how to make this album a success. The negative reception of the album, of course, impacted any potential tour that Chance could go on, which is why why Pat sued him for $3 million in unpaid commissions on revenue from touring, streaming, and album sales. Apparently, after this whole endeavor, Chance ended up firing Pat and giving managerial control to his father and brother, who reportedly don't have any music industry experience. And that duo was allegedly more concerned with getting Chance better promotional opportunities. And I have no proof of this, but I'm gonna assume that's what led to the incessantly repetitive Kit Kat commercial that he was featured in a couple years back.
Chance the rapper.
Give me a break. Just give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
So the interesting thing to me here about the failure of this album is that according to this lawsuit, the issue wasn't necessarily that Chance wanted to go in a different direction with his music, but more so that the problems with this album were bred out of a lack of care. Tales from the studio of being unprepared or rushing. You know, it's very clear how those issues could lead to a final product like this one. But the floodgates had opened regardless of intent, and people soon started clowning on Chance to the point where it seemed like he was on his own island. Even his friendship with Kanye West had seemingly deteriorated since they worked together on The Life of Pablo, after a clip went viral of Kanye at the Wyoming ranch working on Donda, where he was yelling at Chance about something. I don't know if it was ever officially confirmed what this fight happened in relation to. I can't play the clip for copyright because the copyright vultures just literally want me to eat shit and die today, I guess, but you can look up the full clip on YouTube. It is available for you to watch. Chance has talked about the reception to the big day a little bit. Closer to the timeline of when the album came out, he posted a series of tweets on Twitter thanking everyone that had checked in on him, and you know, I don't want to speculate on his mental health necessarily, but it's clear that this all was definitely getting to him. And after all of the fallout from the big day sort of dissipated, I think Chance took a little bit of a back seat in the spotlight, although he was still taking a few high-profile opportunities like being a guest judge on The Voice. Or maybe guest judge isn't the right term, coach, I guess. The people who spin around in the chair. You know what I'm talking about. And Chance has been in the news this year for a couple of reasons. One is that he promises he has a new mixtape on the way, which we'll talk about in a sec, and the other being that he got divorced from his wife. Now, if Ned Fulmer has taught us anything, it's that everyone loves the downfall of a wife guy. You know, a guy who makes their marriage their whole personality, and then their marriage falls apart for one reason or another. Every time it happens, there's blood in the water and the sharks come out to play. As far as what happened here, there are people that speculate that Chance was not exactly being faithful to his wife. There's a video going around of him like dancing with some other woman in a pretty suggestive manner. But yeah, Chance's ex-wife Kirsten confirmed on her Instagram that the two are separating and co-parenting their 2 daughters together. And the response to it, of course, has been a mix of like clowning the wife guy thing, like I said, and also former fans of his being like, oh shit, maybe the music is gonna be good again.
What? Oh, no. That's horrible. Jeez. I hope he doesn't take a step back from his faith and experiment with acid again. Oh, I just really hope his friends Action Bronson, Childish Gambino, and Ab Soul are there to help him out. I hear a studio is a great place to seek solace. And of course, it's a little funny that this is the reaction that most people are having. The notion that suffering inherently makes good art is not a new one. But at the same time, and I've been saying this throughout this whole video, I can't help but feel a little bit bad for the guy, because there is something a little bit sinister and parasocial about fans saying that the music that you make is not its best when you're happy. You know, this is sort of the new equivalent of like, Eminem shouldn't have gotten off drugs and apologized to his mom in that one song with Nate Roos. Or Lorde should not have started dressing in bright colors and vacationing on the beach. Artists are still people and they gotta do what they gotta do to take care of themselves, you know? As far as the new music that Chance has put out, I mean, I like it. I like what I've heard of it so far. I think it's interesting that he's going back to his mixtape roots, but I guess we'll truly just have to wait and see if you really can come back from such a commercial failure. I think he can, but feel free to let me know what you think as well. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. A reminder that you can connect with me here on Twitter. I pointed my arms in the right direction. Yes, let's go. And you can also connect with me at all of the social media listed in this link tree, which can be found in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know who you think I should profile for next month's How the Internet Fell Out of Love episode. If you are new here, we do these once a month. There's a whole playlist backlog you can go check out. But in the meantime, I'll see you soon.
Foot on the devil's neck till it drifted Pangea. I'm moving on my family from Chatham to Zambia.
treat the demons just like Pam. I mean, I'm fresh with your fans, but damn, Gina, I've been this way since Arthur was Anteater. Now they wanna hit me with the woo-wop, the bam. Trying to snap photos of family. My daughter look just like C, you can't see her.